Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something incredibly personal for so many of you watching. We're looking at some highly anticipated research built around a brand new workbook called Taking Control of Your Functional Cognitive Symptoms. And look, if you're living with functional neurological disorder, or FND, I want to set the tone right out of the gate here. We see you. In the medical community, they are increasingly seeing you too. Your symptoms are incredibly real. They're physically and emotionally exhausting, and navigating a healthcare system that hasn't always had the right tools for you, well, it takes immense courage.
Let's start here. Do you experience unexplained brain fog, sudden memory failures? Do you struggle to find your words or find yourself just completely going blank right in the middle of a task? For so many people, these aren't just, occasional inconveniences. They are daily, deeply distressing symptoms that can literally interrupt your work, your conversations, and honestly, your whole sense of self. It can be terrifying when your brain simply won't cooperate with what you want it to do. It leaves you feeling so frustrated and disconnected.
Section 1. The reality of FCD. Okay, let's dive right into this. The medical term you're looking for here is Functional Cognitive Disorder, or FCD for short. It's officially recognized as a specific subtype of functional neurological disorder, and it's characterized by those exact distressing and impairing cognitive symptoms we were just talking about. What this does is give a clear, validated medical context for what you're feeling. It's not some mystery flaw in your personality. It is a documented, medically recognized disorder with specific underlying mechanisms.
So the absolutely crucial point here is understanding how FCD differs from other neurological conditions. On one hand, we have structural neurological diseases, like Alzheimer's. Those are caused by physical, structural damage or neurodegeneration in the brain itself. But on the other hand, we have FCD. In FCD, you have debilitating cognitive symptoms, sure, but there is no structural damage. It's kind of like a computer, right? A structural disease is like a physically broken hard drive, while FCD is more like a software glitch. The hardware is totally intact, but the programs just aren't communicating properly. So your symptoms are fundamentally different in their origin, but they are equally real. They are absolutely not just in your head.
And yet, despite how real all this is, the research we're exploring today highlights a really difficult truth. To quote the paper directly, historically, there has been a lack of widely available, specialized behavioral health interventions for FCD. And honestly, that historical gap in care is exactly why so many patients have felt completely overlooked, isolated, or just entirely misunderstood by the medical system. You might have been handed a diagnosis, but you were given absolutely no roadmap for how to actually manage it.
Section 2. A new therapist-guided workbook. Now, the brilliant thing about this new approach is that the researchers didn't just start from scratch. This new workbook was actually adapted from an established evidence-based neurobehavioral therapy that was originally designed for functional seizures, which is an adjacent condition within the broader FND umbrella. The researchers cleverly took this already proven protocol and tailored it specifically to target the mechanisms underlying functional cognitive symptoms.
And the result of that adaptation? It's a comprehensive, 14-chapter, manualized workbook. Now, it's really important to note that this isn't something you just take home and read alone in a vacuum. It relies on a therapist-guided structure. Over the course of these 14 structured chapters, a patient works hand-in-hand with a behavioral health professional to actively start taking control of their symptoms.
This brings us to one of the absolute strongest features of the workbook, its transdiagnostic utility. That's just a fancy way of saying it works across the board. Whether your FCD is associated with underlying triggers like concussions or viral illnesses, or comorbidities like extreme fatigue and fibromyalgia, the workbook is designed to target the FCD symptoms themselves. You don't need to fit into one specific trigger profile to benefit. The tools apply to the cognitive symptoms directly.
Section 3. The Multimodal Therapy Approach.
So the workbook relies on what we call an integrated multimodal approach, which simply means it tackles FCD from a bunch of different supportive angles. It combines psychoeducation, cognitive behavioral therapy, DBT, and mindfulness, right alongside motivational interviewing. Now, none of these are magic wands on their own, but together, they create an incredibly robust support system for your brain.
The very first step is psychoeducation. This is all about empowering you as the patient by completely demystifying how FCD actually works in your brain and body. Once you understand the mechanism, like how internal factors such as stress or external factors like really loud environments interact to cause that software glitch, the symptoms become far less terrifying. Knowledge truly is power here.
Next up is cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT.
When you're living with FCD, simply forgetting a word isn't just a minor annoyance. It can trigger this massive cascade of panic and negative self-talk. Thoughts like, my brain is completely breaking. CBT helps identify and alter those intense negative generalizations about your daily cognitive lapses. It helps you reframe that intense frustration, so a lost train of thought doesn't have to derail your entire day. Then we bring in DBT and mindfulness. These provide really practical, everyday tools to handle the emotional distress when the brain fog inevitably peaks. And look, mindfulness isn't about clearing your mind entirely. It's about staying grounded in the present moment when a symptom hits. It helps regulate your emotions so you don't spiral into severe distress, because that distress often just makes the cognitive blocks so much worse.
Finally, the workbook uses motivational interviewing and narrative therapy. The goal here is deeply profound. It's all about increasing your sense of agency. Living with FCD can make you feel like a mere passenger in your own body. But these tools are designed to give you your power back, ensuring that you are the author of your own treatment journey, rather than just a bystander.
Section 4, Stage 1, Pilot Testing.
So let's look at the results so far. The initial feedback from civilian and veteran stakeholders has been fantastic. It showed early feasibility, which means it's actually practical to deliver in the real world. It demonstrated safety and tolerability, meaning patients can handle the therapy without any adverse side effects. But most importantly, it showed promising clinical utility. Real people are actually finding it helpful.
Now, this pilot testing fits into the broader guided framework for intervention development. Developing a new medical treatment is a highly rigorous, multi-step process to ensure it is absolutely safe and effective. Step 1 is generation and pilot testing, while Step 2 involves large-scale efficacy testing through massive traditional clinical trials.
The researchers want to be very, very clear here. We are currently right at Stage 1. This means the workbook is currently undergoing generation, refinement, and early pilot testing. So while the preliminary results are highly promising and represent a huge step forward for the FND community, this is still an early-stage intervention. It's being carefully refined. It is not an immediate overnight fix that will be at your local clinic tomorrow, but it is moving safely and swiftly through the necessary scientific channels.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought. Knowing that dedicated researchers are out there actively building and testing specialized treatments for your specific condition, with these new therapist-guided tools on the horizon, how might taking control of your symptoms change your daily narrative? The future of specialized FCD treatment is looking brighter than ever. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and keep looking forward.